Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Brandon Thatch to defeat Benson Henderson. And I'm here to talk about Montel Jackson versus Damone Blackshear. All right, for this fight, I'm going with Montel Jackson, and I've got him winning by decision. I haven't bet on his money line, even though it's pretty tight at minus 160. And that's because I bet on the over 2.5 rounds at minus 145. I think they got that line wrong. I think regardless of who wins this fight, it's going to be by decision, even though they bring a lot of different threats. Montel is much more of a striking threat, and Damone is much more of a grappling threat. But I trust the durability of both guys. Neither guy has ever been finished. Damone's got 6 losses to speak of, too, and he's never been put away. And Montel Jackson, he's got just 2 losses, but they're to very good fighters, Ricky Simone and Brett Johns, even though you could say what you will about Ricky Simone having fallen off lately, and even Brett Johns. But both are very good fighters, and they were able to out-grapple Montel, which is how, if Damone Blackshear is going to win, I'd see it being like that, with him hitting multiple takedowns and getting control and neutralizing Montel. I don't think he's going to go through him with a twister or ground and pound like he did to Luan Lacerda. Montel Jackson, he's really just going to be looking to keep this fight standing. I don't see him rolling for knee bars and stuff. He's only got 1 submission, and it's an incredible submission. He got Brian Kelleher out of there with a Darce choke. Uh, Brian Kelleher, even though he's quite submittable, I'd say, he's still a very good fighter and a very good submission artist himself. So not a bad feather in the cap for Montel Jackson. But the grappling threat should be coming from Damone Blackshear. And really, what more do you need than the twister he hit on Jose Johnson? That was a beautiful finish. The third twister, I believe, in UFC history. And just an incredible win for him. And of course, he turned things around a week later, getting back in there against Mario Batista. I was really rooting for him there, but it went the other way, even though it totally could have gone his way, in my opinion. But I think that's really the kind of fight I envision here, but with Montel having more of an advantage on the feet than somebody like Mario Batista did. Montel Jackson, in general, I think has more pop in his punches, and also he's a much better outside striker. And of course, he's got wrestling himself. Should this turn into a wrestling match, or if he finds himself getting sucked into a wrestling match, maybe Montel could hold that off. But Damone Blackshear, he's a submission threat. He's got 9 submissions in his 14 wins, just 2 by TKO, with one of them being against Luan Lacerda on the ground. And he's never been beaten either. All 6 losses for Damone Blackshear are to really good fighters. Mario Batista and Farid Basharat beat him by decision. And then he lost to Danny Sabatello, Pat Sabatini, Chris Moutinho, and Keith Richardson before getting to the UFC. All good, at the very least, fighters. And I should mention he had a draw against Yusuf Zalal, which that's probably the closest he's ever come to being finished. He was ahead 2 rounds, and then in the 3rd round, Zalal completely took over, and Damone Blackshear really showcased his toughness there, because most other fighters would have been finished via round 3 body shot. But he showed he could take it, and he gave himself a shot at not losing, and he ended up walking away with a draw. So that was a good look for him, I guess. But Montel Jackson is the pick. I think Montel is a really tough guy to out wrestle despite the 2 losses. And I think on the feet, he's got a distinct advantage over Damone Blackshear. More pop in his punches, and even removing power and durability from the equation and whatever. I think he wins on points. I think he wins the volume battle. I think he wins the movement battle for sure. And I think he gets the better of Damone Blackshear. So in the end, I think this will be a really close fight. I'm siding with Montel Jackson, though. It all comes down to winning that wrestling battle, as it does in just about every MMA fight. But the only bet of mine I'm still very confident in, even if my pick is wrong, and that's over 2.5 rounds. If either guy wins, I envision it being by decision. And I'll wait for the props to see if anything jumps out, especially the decision line. But I really think I'm going to be sitting back and just playing the over here. So let's go Montel. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.